2 months ago, we started with nothing, and now we have over 1.5 bill. The goal being to obtain a Tumeken shadow and take on a 500 invocation Tombs of a Masket. This is 0GP to Tumeken Shadow. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 11 of 0GP to Tumeken Shadow. We're closing in on the end goal of Tumeken Shadow and completing the 500 invocation raid with it, and in this episode we'll be taking on the Tombs of a Masket. The reason being is I need more than just the Tumeken Shadow to complete a 500 invocation raid, specifically a couple untradeable items being the Eliteness Thread for the 4-slot rune pouch and the Karis Partisan of the Sun. The Karis is especially useful as it has two very powerful effects inside the Tombs of a Masket, the first being a special attack costing 75% special energy, which does everything an Ambrosia does except it drains your prayer points by 50. The second effect is a passive effect. Whenever you kill an NPC while wearing the Karis Partisan, you heal 12 health in exchange for 5 prayer points. As you can imagine, both of those effects are extremely powerful when you're trying to complete a 500 invocation raid, so we will be obtaining both of those items in this episode. It's also worth noting there is a possibility of straight up obtaining a Tumeken Shadow throughout raids, so let's hope we can once again get lucky. Before we get started with the Tombs of a Masket, the two weapons I'd like to grab is Azmutun's Fang and a Lightbearer. The reason being is Azmutun's Fang is one of the best weapons inside the Tombs of a Masket, so extremely strong weapon to grab. And the second thing I'd like to grab is a Lightbearer. Reason being is it basically just allows your spec to restore twice as fast, and specs are very important inside the Tombs of a Masket. With all the money making we've been doing recently, we have a nice 69 mil to spend. Unfortunately, I do not believe that is enough for the Fang plus the Lightbearer, and I do need a few supplies, so I do need some cash for that as well. But we do have things to sell off. If we go ahead and head to this tab, we've been working on agility a lot in the last episodes, and we have a nice 730 marks of grace, which I may as well spend on Amylase crystals, so I'll go ahead and do that. Plus, we do have some items which I will not be using for the Tombs of a Masket, which I don't mind selling off, namely the Zamarakian Hasta, as it's just really used as a stab weapon, and since I'm buying one of the best stab weapons in the game, the Azmutun's Fang, we may as well sell that off as well, and that should be enough money for now. Sold off all the Amylase crystals and the Zamarakian Hasta, so now we are up to 82 mil, so let's go ahead and purchase all the items I need. The first round of items have bought for the Tombs of a Masket, mainly the Azmutun's Fang and the Lightbearer like I talked about, but generally I bought some supplies as well, plus an Aram's robe skirt since I didn't already have one, so let's go ahead and take all that, and there's a few more items I'd like to buy as well. Here is the last bit of supplies I need for the Tombs of a Masket, basically just runes for the Toxic Trident, and I think I also want to try out Thralls, so I bought some runes for those, some boosting potions, and I also bought obsidian plate legs since I can't really afford anything better. Kind of deja vu to the beginning of the series where I bought a lot of supplies for what I'm doing, and also the fact that I don't have much money left after doing so. This is the inventory I'm going to go with: 6 brews, 3 restores, a combat potion, and a ranging potion, and a bunch of gear to switch through. I think this is the most gear I've ever had since I usually use Void on my Zerker to do Tombs of a Masket. Very, very different, as I've never done a single Tombs of a Masket in this account. And I went ahead and made myself a party, as you can see, no KC, and this is what I'm going to start with. Going to go with 150 to start. It should be no problems, but I do want to start low and eventually just scale my way up, instead of starting high and then constantly failing, having to pay for deaths and things like that. A 150 is still very, very good and still a very good chance of getting lucky and getting ourselves a purple. But like I said, I will be scaling this up. I will most likely get 300, maybe even 350s done in this episode. But yeah, let's get started with a 150 and see how smooth that goes. There we are, the first Tombs of a Masket completed, and look how many combat achievements I got from my first run. That's not too bad, if I must say so myself. The time was terrible, but at the same time, I was taking it extremely, extremely chill. And I guess we may as well check, are we going to get a 1kc luck if we zoom out here? Unfortunately, it is a white light, but like I said, the things I am looking for from the raid is the Jewel of the Sun and the Thread, so I can get that from any of the loots, not just a purple light. So hopefully I get one of those two from our first Tombs of a Masket. The Thread's pretty common. Unfortunately, no, 111k on the first one, but let's go ahead and scale up the difficulty a little bit. I went ahead and made it a 200 invocation raid instead of a 150 that I did last time. I believe the things I added were more overlords, upset stomach, and the feeling special, which ended up being an extra 50, and I'll probably continue to add on to this as I get more comfortable, and I think I'll get to 300 invocation within a few raids. Before I get started with the 200 raid though, I went ahead and switched to the ancient spellbook and bought some runes to go ahead and cast Ice Barrage and Blood Barrage instead. It's just what I'm more used to. I do know eventually thralls are better than bringing Blood Barrage and Ice Barrage, but like I said, I'm just used to it, so I think that's what I'm going to go with. Another Tombs of a Mascot completion, this time on a 200 scale, and it was a lot faster than my first one. The experience, now that I've done 2 raids instead of 1, I definitely got a bit faster. Let's see if we get any lucky for this one. Again, another deathless run. Unfortunately, another white light, but as I should always restate, I am not really going for purples, but if I get one, obviously I'm going to be extremely happy of it. But I want to see if I can get myself the thread or I can get myself the Jewel of the Sun. Unfortunately, no, but 376k from a normal chest, that is not too bad. Definitely better than like the 100k we got our first run. And like I did in the last time, I think I want to scale the difficulty up yet again. Third time's the charm. We got it, and my supply box was like a complete mess that time. I had everything disorganized, but we did get the 250 completed. Are we going to get rewarded from this raid? Unfortunately, another white light. Are we lucky? Unfortunately, we're not. But now, since we've completed the 250, and I'm pretty confident now that I'm getting the hang of things, I want to move it up to 300. And I'm not too familiar with all of the invocations and like what's best nowadays, the metas and all that. So I think I'm going to do some research and find like the best 300 I can try to do. I've checked a few ways of doing the invocations, and I think I found a 300 that's pretty decent. I like it a lot because I don't have a timer on. I do have no help needed, which I'm a little iffy about because I've never done it with this. It basically means I'm only going to get one of each quantity of supplies, but I looked into it a little bit and I think it's doable, so we'll see how that goes. I've got live larvae, blowing mud, and aerial assault for the Kefri. I've got pretty much all of the Zebak ones. I've got staying vigilant and feeling special for Akka, and for Baba I have faith, jungle japes, and shaking things up. I don't really know how I feel about this. Oh, and I also have ancient haste turned off, which is kind of nice, and then I also have insanity turned on, so that's going to be a little interesting, so let's get into it. Well, we did it. There we go. We got ourselves a Master and Elite Combat achievement, and we did complete our first Expert Tombs of a Mascot. Definitely a bit of a struggle, to be completely honest. The supplies don't look great, but I am glad to do it with Insanity on, and not only with Insanity on, but also doing it with the reduced supplies, only 10% supplies. So I can only improve upon that, and hopefully I will with more and more runs, especially getting some more money, which maybe we'll get here as I was trying to time that correctly. Unfortunately, a white light, but maybe we can get the thread so that way we can save an inventory slot. Unfortunately, no thread, but Dragon Dart tips, that's a pretty decent drop. We'll take it. I looked through my bank, and there's actually quite a few items that I'm not currently using for the Tombs of Mascot, such as the Dragon Warhammer. So I'm thinking about selling a few items off just to get some upgrades that I could be using for the Tombs of Mascot to make it a bit easier. I don't really mind doing this because I do eventually want to do a 500 invocation raid, and these upgrades might be permanent upgrades that I do take into that raid. Sold off a few items I'm not currently using in my bank, and now if we go ahead and collect, we have a nice 54.7 mil cash stack, so let's go ahead and spend that on a few upgrades. Here are the 3 items I decided to upgrade to. The Primordial Boots give me a little bit of accuracy and 1 strength bonus. The Bandos Tassets also give me 1 strength bonus and a lot of defense, plus a prayer bonus. And then the Eliteness Sword actually gives you magic damage in the offhand mage slot, which I currently didn't have anything for, so it's nice to have. Now there is one other upgrade that I'd like to get, but as you can see, I do only have a 50k cash stack. Fortunately, I have been doing my herb runs and my birdhouse runs. If you remember all the way back to episode 4, I bought myself enough Topflax seeds to do 100 herb runs and enough redwood logs to do 100 birdhouse runs, and I have been doing them. I haven't finished the 100, but I feel like this is as good as a time as any to go ahead and sell them off, since I am going to get a significant upgrade, a nice 15 mil in toadflax and a decent few mil in bird's nest. I will go through them all and sell all the seeds. And you know what? Let's just get rid of this cash stack and see how much we make from all of that. I sold all the toad flax and the nest. Here's the money I got from all of the seeds, and here's everything else. If we go ahead and collect a nice, look at that, 19.5 mil, which is just enough to buy the item I was looking for. The item I decided to buy was the Basilisk Jaw. The reason being is it's a little bit extra strength bonus, and it also gives no negative stats, and it also gives quite a bit of prayer bonus, but unfortunately it means I cannot use the Serpentine helmet, so I decided to buy some Sanfu serums as well. So there we are, the nice Knights is Not face guard. Another 300 invocation completed. Believe maybe we can get the thread. And we do. We got ourselves the thread of eliteness. So that means now we go ahead and throw that on the rune pouch. My mic stopped working a little bit after that clip, but soon after we did get ourselves 95 attack doing the Tombs of Masket. And on my 4th expert mode KC, I did get myself an elite clue. And I also decided I was only going to do one more expert KC, as I figured I may as well do lower invocation raids as I can go through them faster. And the main point of this is to get myself the Jewel of the Sun. So the faster I can do the raids, the more chances I have to get it. Unfortunately, no purples yet, but we've only completed like 8 raids, so I can't really expect anything. Anything lucky in this chest. Oh! That is a decent bit lucky. That is one of the gems we were actually looking for. Not the gem we're looking for. We are looking for the yellow gem, but you cannot get duplicates until you have all 3 of them. So this is the first one completed. We now have the Breach of the Scarab, so now we can only get the red one or the yellow one. Let's just hope the next one we get is the yellow one. And now that we have 5 expert completions, I am going to go ahead and downgrade the raid quite a bit and go ahead and try to spam these raids in hopes to get ourselves a yellow gem. You gotta love when you lose internet on the final boss of the round. Oh, would you look at that? We've got ourselves another gem, and we have not done too much KC. Unfortunately, this is once again the gem that we are not looking for, but the Eye of the Corruptor, that means the next gem is guaranteed to be the yellow gem. So hopefully we get that soon, and I'm going to keep running these. These 200s are really, really chill. They don't take too much time at all. Very nice to get a gem, but very unfortunate that it is the one gem that we do not need. But like I said, the next gem we get is guaranteed to be the one we want, so that is awesome. Well, this is pretty interesting. We're up to 28 total KC, 23 normal, 5 hard mode, and we just got ourselves our first Cache of Ruins. You'd think I'd get it a lot earlier than that, but it is a collection log slot, so I guess it's worth recording. And from the Cache of Ruins, we got ourselves 1,000 silver runes, so I guess I'll restock on that. Yes, there it is. That is the jewel we were looking for at 26 KC. I got extremely lucky getting all 3 gems in such a low KC, but that is the jewel we are looking for. That means we now have everything we need to complete the 500 invocation Tombs of a Masket, which we will be doing in the next episode. That is absolutely amazing. Before we end this video, I do have to sell off my loot, and before I even do that, I do have some clue scrolls to open. I got 6 beginners from Birdhouse runs. I got an elite clue from Tombs of a Masket, and I can't even remember where I got my master clue. I think it may have been in the last episode, but I forgot to open it. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with the beginners and see if we can get some uniques. I don't think we've gotten a single unique through all of the beginner clue scrolls we've done throughout the series, and unfortunately that's not going to change today, but we do have an elite clue scroll, which is 74k, not too great, but we have the great Master Clue Scroll, which turns out to be a Mimic. That is very exciting. So yeah, let's go prepare for a Mimic fight. We have defeated the Mimic, and if you remember, getting a Mimic gives you a really good chance at getting 3rd age, so hopefully we can get lucky. We did get a new personal best. Please, this would be the perfect opportunity to get lucky, and unfortunately, all that it adds is 15 raw mana ray. That is a really awful drop for it to add. I guess it's a 500k master clue. That's somewhat decent, but yeah, got my hopes up for nothing. Now we do have the loot to sell off, and first and foremost, I want to go ahead and show you the loot tracker so you know what I'm working with. 31 Tombs of Masket got me 8.6 mil, but I did sell off some loot because I did die a few times doing the harder raids, so I needed the cash. So keep that in mind. Not all of the loot is here, but most of it is here, or at least most of it from the 200s I kept. So about 20 raids worth of loot is in here, and then I also got the clue scroll loot, so about 5 mil. Let's sell it off and see what we get. After selling off everything, we got ourselves a nice 5.5 mil, a bit more than what I price checked everything in the bank, but I did also sell some runes, so that's probably where the extra money came from. So let's go ahead and throw that into the cash stack. We now have a 9.3 mil cash stack, which I can't even remember if it's more or less than what we started with. We bought and sold so many items in this episode, and we might even do some more for the next episode since we are going to be going for the 500, including the twisted bow. But if we take that out, we are over 250 mil, and I believe we started with over 250 mil, so we probably didn't make too much money as we didn't see a single purple throughout all of our Tombs of a Masket, but that is okay because we got all 3 gems extremely fast, so I cannot really complain at all about that. I'm very happy about that, and we also got the Thread of Eliteness to make the Divine Rune Pouch, also a very, very nice upgrade. In the next episode, we will be obtaining the Tumeken Shadow and take on RuneScape's newest challenge, the 500 Invocation Tombs of a Masket. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and the series so far. If you have, a like would be much appreciated. Subscribe to keep up to date when the final episode is released, and I hope you have a great day.